Stand up out of your chair right now. No hands. Now stand on one leg. Count to 15. If your hip dropped, if your torso swayed, if you reached for something, you just watched your own biological timeline reveal itself, and it is running faster than you think. Here is the reality: nobody sits you down and tells you. The wheelchair at 80 is almost never the end result of a disease. It is the end result of a single event. You go down sideways, you land on the point of your hip, the bone breaks, and the man who walks out of that hospital is rarely the same man who walked in, if he walks out at all. Men die after a broken hip at a higher rate than women do. That is not fear. That is the actuarial table. And the tissue standing between you and that moment is not your heart. It is not your quadriceps. It is a fan-shaped muscle on the outside of your hip that most men over 60 have not contracted with any real intent in 20 years. Its name is the gluteus medius. It is your survival infrastructure, and right now, it is going quiet. Your doctor looks at your chart, he sees the decade, and he gives you this sentence that has ended more men than tobacco. Take it easy. Stay active. Go for walks. Understand what that advice optimizes for. It optimizes for you not being injured today. It does not optimize for you being capable at 80. There is no test on your chart for the thing that will decide how your last 20 years look. So let me be direct about walking. Walking is a straight line. It happens in one plane, forward. You can accumulate 10,000 steps a day, every day for a decade, and still be unable to stand on one leg for 15 seconds. The distance does nothing for the muscle that controls sideways, and sideways is where you break. Then comes the second wave of terrible advice. The cane, the grab rails, the cushioned shoes, the hip protector. Look at what all of those things have in common. They manage the fall. Not one of them prevents it. They are built on the assumption that your body has already surrendered the argument. You have not been given a strategy, you have been given a settlement. Here is the mechanism, and I want you to follow it precisely. Every single step you take is a moment of single leg stance, 1 foot down, 1 foot in the air. In that fraction of a second, your entire body mass is balanced on one hip, and the gluteus medius is the muscle holding your pelvis level over that leg. When it has authority, the pelvis stays flat, the stride stays long, and the track stays narrow. When it fades, the pelvis drops on the swing side. Your torso lurches to compensate. The stride shortens, the feet turn out, the base widens. And you get the walk you have seen 1,000 times and quietly promised yourself you would never have. That walk is not age. That walk is a lateral stabilizer with no authority left. And the body is clever about hiding it from you. When the hip cannot hold the pelvis, the torso takes over the job. You lean, you swing the arm wider, you drag the hand along the counter as you pass. Those compensations feel like habit. They are not habit. They are a report. Every rail you touch on the way through your own kitchen is the muscle telling you what it can no longer do alone. Now the fall itself. A forward trip is survivable. You have hands, you have time. But the lateral fall, the sideways collapse, gives you none of that. Your body mass travels straight down onto the point of the hip. That is the fracture. That is the surgery. That is the 6 weeks of bed rest in which you lose more muscle than you built in the previous 6 years. And here's the part that should keep you honest. Preventing that fall is not a test of strength. It is a test of speed. The catch step, the sharp lateral step that puts a foot back under your center of mass, must fire in under half a second. Not 2 seconds, under half a second. The fibers that produce force that fast are your fast twitch fibers. And sarcopenia does not take your muscle evenly. It comes for those fibers first. Power decays faster than strength. Which means a man can still push a respectable weight in a slow, controlled lift and still be entirely incapable of producing force in the window where his life is being decided. That is the trap. Slow strength feels like insurance. It is not. And then the psychology closes the loop. Once a man has had one near miss, he starts negotiating with the world. He stops taking the stairs. He avoids the ice. He declines the uneven ground. Every avoidance removes another stimulus, and the muscle interprets the silence as permission to shrink further. The fear does not protect you. The fear accelerates you toward the chair. Now understand what changes when this muscle is loaded and awake. Your pelvis stays level. Your track narrows, your stride lengthens, your hands come off the rail. Your head comes up because your eyes are no longer patrolling the ground for threats. And people read it instantly from across a car park before you have said a single word. Younger men read gait before they read anything else. It is the oldest assessment there is. A man who moves with lateral control is not offered a seat. He is not steadied at the curb. He is not spoken to slowly. The space around him is not managed on his behalf. Women read it with even more precision, not for the reason most men assume. Posture and gait are a tell, a read on capability, on vitality, on which category a man occupies. Is this a man who will be helped or a man who helps? That judgment is made in about a second, and it is made silently, and you never get to argue your case. But the deepest shift is not what they see, it is what you stop doing. You stop routing your life around risk. You take the icy driveway without the internal calculation. You carry both bags up the step. You climb into the boat. You put a grandchild on your shoulders and turn without your hip filing a complaint. You take the trail with the loose rocks instead of standing at the trailhead inventing a reason not to. Watch it happen at an airport. Two men, the same age, same gray hair, same jacket. One is escorted to the cart before he asks. The other walks the concourse with his own bag and is never once treated as a logistics problem. Nothing was said. The hip decided. That is what physical authority actually buys, not admiration. Territory. Your world stays wide, while other men's worlds quietly narrow to a house, a chair, and a window. You are not training a hip. You are defending your sovereignty. 3 parameters, no substitutions. 1. Load one leg at a time. Split squats, step-ups, single leg, stiff leg deadlifts. The split squat, one leg loaded, controlled, the pelvis held level. The step-up, full weight through one leg, driving up with control. The single leg stiff leg deadlift, balance and hinge, one leg at a time. Twice a week, 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps per leg. Tempo is 3 seconds down, 1 second pause, then drive up. Load is earned, not assumed. You add weight only when all 3 sets reach 8 reps with the pelvis dead level. If the hip drops, the set does not count. 2. Load the frontal plane. The suitcase carry, 1 heavy dumbbell, 1 hand, walking tall. The suitcase carry, 1 heavy dumbbell, 1 hand, 20 to 30 meters. Torso vertical, no side lean. 3 rounds per side, twice a week. Your gluteus medius does not get trained by facing forward. It gets trained by refusing to bend sideways under load. 3. Train the catch step. This one is speed, and it goes first in the session, never at the end, never under fatigue. Lateral step downs and low lateral bounds. The lateral hop, sharp, fast, controlled on landing. 3 sets of 3 to 5 fast repetitions per side, with full recovery. The intent is violence of speed, not burn. You are rehearsing the exact half second your future depends on. And your standing test. 30 seconds on one leg, shoes off, hands off. Under 15 seconds means the countdown is already running. Most men your age will hear this, agree with it, and do nothing. Their timeline is already written. The full structure, the progressions, the loading, the sequencing that keeps this hip under command through your 70s and into your 80s is inside the elite physique system. The link is in the description. It is built for the man who intends to be capable, not comfortable. How close to failure should you train after 60? Tap it. And if you are one of the 3% who refuses to decline quietly, subscribe. This channel is for you. Stand on one leg tonight, then decide what kind of 80 you are going to have.